All right, everyone. Welcome into the press conference here for the United States Disc Golf Championship. I'm Nate Perkins. I'll be asking questions on behalf of the Disc Golf Network. And here we have event director Jonathan Poole. Jonathan, bring us into your week. How are you? What have you been focused on?
Efficiency. I came out of the World Championships in Finland inspired in a lot of ways. And I felt like, man, this is awesome. Like I'm feeling pushed. I like this, and I was just determined to make sure that we made the very best with all the resources that we have. And so we've had 40 to 45 people working out here every day for the past week and a half to 2 weeks,
Wow.
Just doing all the fine tuning. Obviously, no hurricane this year, so it was much smoother sailing, getting the course dialed. But just by really being diligent with the planning and the communication, we've been able to just get to that much more. So that's a big difference, I think, for me this year and what I've been really focused on.
Well, what are some specific elements that they did over in Finland that you liked, that you wanted to bring over here?
I think in terms of that experience, it was so over the top, right, in a lot of ways, infrastructure-wise. But everything just was done so professionally and smoothly. I really like that. I think we take a slightly different approach to promoting disc golf in the United States. So we're a little more, this to me is more of a, as I've kind of leaned into the biggest celebration of disc golf in the world. That's a new thing where I want to resonate with the everyday disc golfer. I want you to come out and celebrate the game and the community, not just the top pros. So it's a little bit everything. I think seeing it done at, Worlds was like the most PGA Tour-like experience for disc golf I've ever seen. And we've done that. Like I did that here for 20 years, where we focused heavily on the professional aspect of it. Nothing wrong with that at all. I just have gone a slightly different direction and try and encourage new fans and give them reasons to come out. The music, the one wheels, the art, the food festival, like all the things. And so while there were a lot of takeaways for me from what UC and his team did, it also kind of deepened my conviction in what we do and why we do it differently.
Well, Jonathan, the USDGC and the Winthrop Arena have had a long-term relationship. It's one of the few majors that the venue has stayed the same for many years. What is the long-term vision for you in this event?
Well, in terms of Winthrop, next year is kind of a contract year for us next year. This will be the 5th year of a 5-year deal that we've had in place with the school. We really hope to stay here. I don't know, if you were going to move the Masters, where would you move it? It's just unique to have a major like this that's been in the same place this long with all the history. So we really want to try and find a way to make it work so we can stay here. There are so many advantages here from an event standpoint that many other courses do not have. Just the infrastructure and the hospitality and resources, it's a really nice arrangement, I think, for Winthrop and for us. For me personally, I'm kind of funny. It's like after I ran my 25th, I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to run 26, then I'm almost committing to 30. Because I don't want to be the guy that ended on some odd number. I plan to make it to 30. That's my personal goal. But I'm also bringing in, like Chad Sullivan's a good example. We've got a lot of young, new people on our team. And I think you'll see some good notes of that this year, where I want our event to have a young face. And I want to see the new regime start to take over now while we're all strong, right? And so that's a big part of it for me. I want this thing to go on and be able to grow and be as strong, zero drop off when I decide to hang up the cleats. And so that's always kind of hum along in the background, but maybe even a little more emphasis on that this year.
Well, as far as the challenge that this course brings to the players, can you talk about the team behind making the tweaks to the course over the years and how you are able to bring the challenge as it being one of the 4 majors of the season?
Yeah, I think it's, it really starts with Andrew Duvall, Harold Duvall's son, who really is our lead course designer. He's designed a lot. I don't even know how many courses at this point, but it's a lot. And there are a lot of, really strong, high-level tournament courses. Here it's not so much the design, it's really more in the setup. We try and keep this course as similar as we can from year to year without, want to become irrelevant. I mean, you want to keep it appropriate. The challenge appropriate for where the game is. And I mean, Andrew's a real student of course design. He came over to Worlds with us and got to see that firsthand. And they watch a lot of coverage, which you kind of get a pretty good idea of what the vibe is and what the challenges are and what kind of scores players are putting down. But here it's that blend of staying true to our roots and preserving that tradition, and then also finding new ways to push the players just a little bit where we can.
Well, what do you think makes this event stand out from others throughout the year?
I think this event stands out just simply because it's been here for so long. I mean, this is one of the most heavily covered courses and events in history. So it's always cool to interact with new players, and they're like, "Oh man, I just I can't believe that I'm finally here and see the bamboo wall and see some of this stuff that they maybe have only seen." It still's a bucket list venue, an event for so many people, and it is a little harder to get in, I think, and I think that adds to it. It's like we got good players not making it. It was a strong field on Monday trying to get in last minute. So I think when there's that added challenge to get in, and then you come here and you're like, okay, it feels a little different here because you just know how much history and all the great champions that have come before them. And that's something that works in our favor, which is why it's like, well, if we were ever going to move it, that's a full reset. Like, where are you going to take it? What is that going to look like?
Yep. JP, thanks for your time. Here's Brian Earhart with the DGN.
Hello, Jonathan.
What up?
I was just talking to you off camera about how good the mowing looks out here, how you can easily see where the OB pockets are, and I think that's obviously intentional. Just comment on that and all the little details you guys have focused on this year.
Yeah, well, I mentioned earlier, we really had a tough slog last year with Hurricane Helene coming through just weeks prior. It was incredible that we were even able to get it playable, much less fine-tuned like it is this year. So we were able to get back to what we love doing, and that's just going over it and over it and over it and over it, and just in keeping our team moving. I spoke earlier about the efficiency. It's like, okay, where can we get better? It looks really good, but you're never done. We run out of time tonight, but you're always pushing to make it better. And I love some of the small things that we've done to really make the course, especially the OB, more visible, not just for players, but also for fans watching at home.
Just talk a little bit more about that. How many different iterations of that problem have you had to solve? I think the viewer experience has been evolving time after time, year after year.
Yeah, the one thing that seems lost on a lot of the broadcasts, and it's no one's fault, but sometimes it's difficult to understand how challenging these courses really are. I mean, the shot making is phenomenal by players these days. It just gets better and better and better. And so we just want a course that really challenges them in that regard, but also showcases that a little bit better and helps fans understand. So some of that starts with the mowing and, just subtle things like white rope. That was something that we were kind of critical that we wanted to use for OB because you look at it from the drone and it pops a little better. So those are just little details that we think about because we care about the fan experience, whether you're here or whether you're watching on your phone or at the house, whatever.
Well, I got one last question for you. There's some holes out here that have changed a little bit in the early days, but they've kind of stayed similar over the past maybe decade or so. I'm looking at holes like 17, 18 has changed just a tiny bit. Are those holes done? Is there any more evolution left on some of these final holes in the course?
Well, you mentioned 18. One longer-term vision, and this depends on the contract and how long we stay here at Winthrop, is to build a green down into the water on 18 to make it more accessible from the pin. So if you really needed to go for it, you had that opportunity to attack the green, but it's a full water carry. That's an example. Other places, I think about the OB on 5, like we've planted trees, we've brought OB in from the road on the right. That tightens things up a little bit. But, for the most part, spoke to tradition earlier, we try and give players a chance to come back and face a similar challenge to what they've seen in earlier events.
You just said one little thing that brings one last question up. What other venue, what other facility could possibly fill the shoes that this course has worn for the past 30 years or so?
Well, I mean, there are some phenomenal courses out there. I mean, I guess in my experience traveling around, it's difficult to check the event boxes that you really need. So there are a lot of courses that can handle it for sure. But they don't. I haven't seen very many where you can come in and run a 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 person spectator event. That's a completely different situation. And there just isn't another course that has, I mean, this is 34 majors. I mean, that might be twice of any other venue. So there isn't any other place that really has that.
Well, JP, I'm sure I'll see you throughout the week. Enjoy it. The show is finally about to begin for you.
Best time of the year.
We'll be right back. Ganon Buhr joins us once again here at Winthrop. Beautiful time of the year. We're here in the Carolinas. The weather's fantastic. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I got a practice run in just now, and I feel like my game plan's pretty dialed in. Obviously, a lot of it's like wind dependent. There's a lot of like either disc stability or shot decision that is wind dependent out here. So, but you know, I've had my success out here in the past, and I think like why change it?
I want to go back. I didn't get to talk to you on the Green of 18 at Maple Hill because I talked to Cole. You guys were in a battle to the very end. Can you just reflect on that week and what it felt like kind of coming down the stretch with your buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of how the season's gone. Obviously, it's been like a really successful season. I have, you know, a good amount of wins, but it feels like there's been a couple tournaments where I play really well and I just get barely outplayed, and that's kind of how that was again. And you know, Cole feeling healthy these last couple weeks. I think he just went third, first. So he's on fire right now. Definitely like a dark horse pick, I think, out here this weekend. He's never played good here in the past, and I almost feel like that takes pressure off of it. I feel like it can kind of allow you to relax and you don't have any expectations. So, but that was a really special moment for us. I mean, we've never battled before, and we've been friends for 5 years now and touring together for 5 years, always dreaming about those moments, and it finally happened, and I'm happy for the guy.
Zoom in this week. Multiple changes out here on the course. I'm looking at hole 3, has some changes in the green, some changes in the fairway. Other spots in this course have had the same thing happen. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, hole 3 I'm not a big fan of. I don't think that hole is good in general. I feel like it's a lot to ask for a 550-foot placement shot to then have a extremely technical second shot even. I'm not really a fan of holes that require that type of stuff. And I think the left pin is not good at all. It's just like the landing zone that you have to land in the left pin is like, it's weird. You're almost throwing it into the woods, and it's like it just doesn't feel like a very consistent shot. So I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. They did put hay bales up, which is nice. So if you want to go forehand roller, you can do that and then actually land and not miss the Mando with the way the rule is. So that's fine. Hole 4, I think I like the change, moving the Mando tree back just one. That actually changes me from throwing a backhand to a forehand now. So I'm going with a PD forehand this time, just because I want to make sure I don't miss the Mando, and I've been throwing it good the last couple days. So gonna say the same game plan there. 5, the OB moved in about 10 feet off the road, which is going to get some people for sure. I definitely have been close to the road before. 9's a big change. That hole, I feel like in the past, is almost a hole you walk up to and guarantee in your head before you play the round. And now it's a hole, it's almost the opposite. It's like you got to get through hole 9. So that section of the course, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, once you get past like hole 7 and stuff like that, like 8 to like 13 maybe, is a very tough stretch that you can either go really under par easily or you can go really over par. I've done both of them. So just got to focus there. And not many more changes. One landing zone change on hole 11 kind of pinches off my drive there a little bit. But other than that, I'm going to have pretty much the same game plan on every hole.
I want to zoom out just a second, and I want to ask you more of a philosophical question about how you kind of think about the game of disc golf. At least when I was on tour, there was a lot of chatter every single round that I played of two things. The concept of deserving something on the disc golf course and the concept of luck or bad luck. What do you feel about those two different terms, and how does it affect the way you play disc golf?
That's interesting. I mean, we play a game where luck is definitely evident. Like it's obvious it's there, and people get lucky, and people don't get lucky sometimes. So I don't really know how to answer that, to be honest. I feel like it's very clear who the best players are. So luck doesn't have that big of a determining factor when it comes to an overall of like how a season goes, obviously. And luck doesn't come into play that much. It's only maybe one every 20 shots, I feel like, or 15 shots. So it's not a big deal. But when we play in wind and we play in outside conditions, stuff happens, and that's just how it goes. And sometimes it's your day, sometimes it's not. So yeah, I would say generally, like, if you're a good player, you're probably going to play good. And but yeah, I think luck is looked more at on certain shots. So maybe coming down the stretch of a tournament, or something where it's very low percentage, sneaking through a tree or something like that. So, but yeah, I'd say that's how I feel about that.
Well, Ganon, thank you so much for your time. Here's Nate Perkins for a few more.
Ganon, in general, where does this course rank on your list throughout the year?
I'd probably put it around like 5th in terms of like just what it means, or like fun, or like what it means to me. It's the most iconic course we play for sure, that has the most history, and then it's a course we come back to every single year. This major does not shift; it stays here, and the course stays generally the same with just minor changes. You don't really move places on the property, but certain holes might shift 20, 30 feet. This course means a lot to me. It marks 10 years from when my mom drove me down here from Iowa to come watch Will Schuster play. He's actually in the field this week, so that's really cool to see. And it's just kind of crazy how it came back full circle, and now being a 2-time champion of this event, being like the first event I really ever cared about or watched, and kind of based my whole disc golf career off of was this event. So coming back to this course, it's awesome. I think it's a very fair course. I think they do a good job of making it look nice. Even stuff you can't really see on camera, they dig out little kind of trenches for the OB lines on every single hole, and that takes a lot of work, along with all the rocks that they keep here to make it obvious where the landing zones are. In the past they had ropes up on the OB lines and hazard lines, and now you have longer grass with rocks, so it looks a lot nicer. I think this course keeps advancing, and the USDGC crew puts a lot of work in.
Well, Ganon, what do you think it is about the actual challenge of the course here? Most of the courses throughout the year, it seems like each year the field keeps pushing lower and lower to new limits, but not the case here. It seems every year there's some different number that it allows you to win the title. Why do you think that is?
I mean, they've definitely experimented with different rules. Sometimes they've done stroke and distance on every hole, which I think Conrad won one year under 20 under par, like was below 20 under par,
19.
which is crazy. And then I believe the last couple of years it's taken about 33 to win. So, or around the last 3 years, I think it's been about 33 under to win the tournament. So, you got to be shooting, around 8 under a round to stay in the mix here, which is not hard to do. It's not hard to shoot an 8 under par round at all out here. It's actually fairly easy as long as you keep it in bounds. The tough part is doing it over 4 days and being consistent and not having a blow-up day. I've almost missed cash here before in 2023. And it felt like not that much was going wrong, but it just wasn't my time. It felt like I just wasn't exactly sharp. And when you're not sharp out here, it makes the course really weird because you're not able to go aggressive, and if you do, you get even a bigger punishment for it. So holes like hole 10, hole 12, these stroke and distance holes, it's really decision making and how your game feels. So if your game's off and you're throwing aggressive shots, you're going to get punished for it. And so I think it's an important thing out here is knowing your distances. I come out to a lot of these par 4s, especially kind of toward the middle part of the course, and I'm really just learning the distances that I'm throwing. I know on hole 12, like if I'm at the drop zone, I'm throwing an FD3. If I'm 25 feet in front of it, I'm going MD5. Stuff like that is really important out here for confidence, consistency reasons, and making sure you're keeping the disc in bounds. And that's key out here. Staying in bounds, and the birds are going to come.
Ganon, last question for you. What are your instincts saying about who's going to be the one pushing you this week?
I think it might be Macbeth. I think he wants it really bad right now. I think his game's looking the best it has in the last probably 4 years. And it's a course that suits up well for his game. He's a very accurate player, and he's got the clutch factor, and that's what you have to have out here. So, but I mean, you look at a list, any of those guys can get me 100%, and it's up to me to just stay consistent and play my best. It's not a guarantee I'm going to be up there. I'm going to try my best, obviously, but I feel somewhat comfortable out here, and I think if I can just stay in a good headspace and throw some consistent shots out there, stay away from the out of bounds, it's going to be a tight battle no matter what.
All right, guys, that's Ganon Buhr. He's looking to defend his title this week at USDGC. Thanks, Ganon.
Thank you.
All right, here now with Holyn Handley. Holyn, since the win in Norway, been a relatively up and down second half of the season, including a missed cash back at Ledgestone. Mm-hmm. But at MVP, it seemed like you finally found your groove again. Can you touch on how that event felt and how you felt, not playing your best in that final round?
Yeah, I think, the performance overall was really good. Usually MVP is one where I usually struggle a little bit. Usually I'll have kind of a bad first or second round, and then I kind of am able to make a push and still get a decent finish towards the end. But I kind of went into the tournament not wanting to worry too much about the result, trying to get back to the basics, trying to get back to let's give every shot full focus, let's be fearless on every shot, and let's accept everything that happens and not let ourselves get too frustrated. And I think zeroing in on that kind of allowed me to have 3 really good rounds. And then, that final round, really was just 2 holes that got away from me, hole 3 and then hole 15. Otherwise, I would have been right in it there until the end, which, is disappointing. But given, having the struggles at Ledgestone and Idlewild, I think everything's kind of trending in the right direction. And so from that perspective, I'm pretty happy with it.
Well, on a pretty direct question here, but it seems like in your moments of victory, you're able to stay in control of your emotions, and then on the more difficult days on the course, it seems like the emotions are getting the best of you. Are you also noticing that, and what are you doing on and off the course to address that?
I mean, yeah, definitely noticing it. I think it's pretty obvious. Really, it's just, like I said, it's trying to come back to basics, trying to put my goals and what I'm trying to do in terms of things that I can control, because you can't always control the result of what the disc does. But really, I just don't. If I make a mistake, I would rather be fearless and smart about what I'm attempting and then maybe make a mistake rather than be timid or unsure and then make a mistake. So I'm really trying to put things in that perspective and then just accept whatever happens. If I need to have a moment to let it out, but not let it, snowball into something worse.
Well, Holyn, even with these shortcomings in the second half of this season, you took down the points title in the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Can you kind of reflect on that moment and what it really means to you?
Yeah, it means a lot because it means, consistency throughout the year, even with having that little hiccup in the middle, which, I've had a little hiccup every season. It's just usually come a little sooner in the season. It means a lot because it means that of everybody, I was the most consistent player. Even if my wins came a little bit earlier, I was the most consistent player all year. I kept a top 5 streak, the longest of any player, both MPO, FPO. which is, a huge accomplishment. And then last year, I was in position to get the points championship, and I lost it in the last event because it went to Missy because she won the event. So, I knew going in I needed to get about 6 or better, and I was really happy with how I handled myself. And even though I didn't walk away with the win, I'm really happy with that.
Well, we're back here at Winthrop. All of your great rounds, I still feel like one of your better rounds ever was here from the chase card to win this event. What kind of memories do you have returning to this property?
Yeah, that was so funny too, because it was a good testament to just like putting your head down and focusing on the controllables, because that's really all I did on that final day. I felt like I was completely out of it. I said, we're just gonna like try to have a good round today and not worry about anything. Didn't check the scores all day, had no clue what was going on until I was actually like going into a playoff. So yeah, lots of good memories here. Just the crowd like kind of rooting for me in like a slightly different way, just because they knew what was up and I didn't, and kind of like keying in on that was a really cool thing. And then just like the whiplash moment of it all, of like I'm just having like a normal day to like, oh my God, I'm in it. Like, oh my God, Kristen made a mistake and now I've won. Like it finally happened. All of that's just great here. I'm looking forward to playing again.
Well, with how this shakes up, this technically isn't a major, but from your perspective, where does this rank as far as prestige, and what do you think this tournament means to the FPO field?
Yeah, it is a really weird one, because it's one where when I'm here during this week, I feel like I'm treated like I was a major champion. Just the way that the staff and the people around the community treats it, and the way it's talked about this week, and then I feel like the rest of the year is just kind of forgotten about. Because it doesn't get listed among major and DGPT wins. So I feel like even, podcast commentary, it kind of gets forgotten about because it's this kind of weird extra tier. So that's a little bit weird, but I definitely enjoy coming back here, being a champion, knowing that, I'm always going to be qualified for it, so I can come back even like what some of the legends of the MPO game are able to do. I'm looking forward to getting to do that someday. So in that regard, it feels like an opportunity to kind of build some FPO history that parallels what the guys have got to do with USDGC.
Holyn, thanks for your time. Here's Brian Earhart.
Hi, Holyn.
Hey, Brian.
I'm not going to ask that question yet. When you think about Winthrop, some players tell me that they can go to bed at night and there are certain holes that just are burned into their memory, holes that they can play in their sleep. Are there any holes out here that have that effect on you, that you just know exactly what line you want to throw, exactly what disc, and maybe you dream about it at night?
I mean, that's probably every hole on tour. For the most part at this point, I have kind of ideally what I want to do. But yeah, I mean, a lot of this course is like the shots aren't complicated. It's just the punishment if you happen to not execute is really, really high. So yeah, I would say probably all of them.
What about a specific hole that excites you and gets you really fired up about the game of disc golf out here?
Oh man, probably either like hole 8 or 18. I feel like they're very eagleable par 5s, and it feels really special when you manage to get a 3 on one of those holes.
Well, Holyn, in an off-camera conversation, you told me we had to finish the conversation here at the press conference, so I'm going to ask the question again. If all animals and insects woke up tomorrow and they had the same intelligence as humans, who would reign supreme?
Yeah, I gave this one a lot of thought, actually, after our conversation. And I think I know exactly what would happen, because I think right off the bat, you would have your first conflict would have to be between humans and their livestock. I think your cows wake up and they go, what the hell is this? You've been fattening us up and eating us for how long? I think your other conflict is your prey-predator conflict, and no matter how these shape up, there's a food crisis. Meanwhile, no one is thinking about what, Brian? The bugs. I think the mosquitoes win this one.
Holyn, thank you so much for your time and for your thoughtful answers. Good luck this week, and we'll see you out there.
See you out there.
Jesse Longenecker joins us now for his first USDGC, and is his first press conference as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well,
it's all new.
Jesse, I have to say it was a pleasure to commentate on your rounds at Iida Wild. Me and Nate Perkins were having a great time dissecting your game and watching you kind of grow as a player in person right in front of us. Can you just talk to us a little bit about your journey in disc golf and what got you to this place right here?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I started playing more intensely during the COVID pandemic. I played disc golf before that, but yeah, I mean, I had so many good tournament directors in my area that were just, I mean, they were pumping out tournaments so fast, and everyone in the community was so excited to get out and play. And so, yeah, it's just become more and more serious for me every year.
Well, you're a collegiate champion, and I want to just give you the opportunity to speak about college disc golf and the camaraderie and the environment that those tournaments and that whole circuit kind of gives the players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I played other sports in high school, and, I think one thing that is missing for me sometimes in disc golf is that, like, team group dynamic that can be just so fun. Mm-hmm. And so there's something really special about college disc golf for me, just with having a group that you're all pushing for the same goal. I mean, I think disc golf there's a lot of camaraderie between players who are playing against each other, but it's a little different when you're all shooting for the same thing.
Are you speaking from a standpoint of somebody who played a lot of team sports before you found disc golf?
Yeah, totally. Soccer, volleyball.
How immersed in those sports as a kid were you?
Yeah, very. I mean, I played soccer my whole life, and then even in high school, and then volleyball I picked up later, but really enjoyed that throughout high school as well.
Well, you picked up disc golf more seriously during the COVID pandemic. It's been a rise for you, and clearly your abilities are elite, as I've seen on screen.
Thanks.
What are your thoughts here at your first USDGC? Do you feel like you have a shot at taking it down your very first try?
Yeah, I mean, I think expectations have to be just to come out in here and have fun. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience playing against the best in the world yet, so I don't necessarily know how I stack up. I know I can shoot a hot round. I mean, like I did that at Iida Wild, and I feel confident on every shot out here. But I think just getting a better idea for how I stack up over a couple rounds is going to take some more time. Well,
I think Jonathan Poole said this course has seen 34 majors, something along the lines of that. How much did you watch of Winthrop and the USDGC and the Throw Pink before you came here for the first time to play?
Yeah, I mean, every year. I mean, I love watching DGN, Joe Mez, all the broadcasting. I've watched this basically every year growing up playing, and so it's just surreal to be here, and fun to be throwing the same shots.
Strategy-wise, how are you attacking this course? Are you hitting the brakes in a lot of spots here, or are you going full force on every hole? I like to think about birdie on every hole as a possibility. I think that those things will change with wind, but I have a big forehand. That's one of the strongest parts of my game, and so that allows for a lot of opportunities out here to attack. But yeah, I mean, taking things one shot at a time. Thank you so much, Jesse. Here's Nate Perkins.
Well, Jesse, you said you've been watching this course now for many years. When you first showed up to this property, what holes kind of surprised you and how easy they were, and which holes surprised you and how difficult they actually were?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like the first time I come to a place that I've watched a lot of times on camera, the elevation is just different. Mm-hmm. And so I think seeing some of the elevation on like hole 18 and like how downhill you're going on hole 17, and same with 1. I mean, those are all iconic holes in my brain. So I played them over and over again. But then being here in person, it's just a little different. And I think I've honestly been surprised at how doable the shots are. Like I watch these guys on TV who I've idolized, and like, yes, they're better because they're consistent, and some of them can throw shots that I can't. But for the most part, I've been surprised I can throw these shots. It's just about going out and executing.
Well, which holes right now through your practice rounds are still giving you some trouble?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think so. I played the collegiate nationals here.
Yeah.
So some of the holes are a little bit different. I struggle with the hole numbers, but I think crossing the road there's like a par 4 that it's the one that Nico had the albatross on. It's a little different now.
Yeah. 13th.
13, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So that one's definitely been tough. Throwing that shot up over that hill, it's hard to gauge where the OB is.
Yeah.
But I think just mainly the ones that are different from nationals until now.
Well, you mentioned your big forehand. What spots on the course are you really able to take advantage with that shot?
Yeah, I think a couple of the par 3. I think 14 is a par 3. I can put that one really nice and high, give it a lot of time to get back. Hole 18, the drive, I can get a lot of distance up the hill, make that approach easier. Yeah, hole 5 is it? Maybe the going along the lake.
Yep.
Allows for me to get some distance off the tee. It's a real weapon out here.
What did you learn from your time competing at Iida Wild? You were on the spotlight, shooting the 12 under, playing on the lead card. What are you able to take away from that experience and implement into this week's tournament?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think the main thing is just like it took me, 13 holes to get really adjusted out there. And so, knowing that I can play well, I mean, I shot like 4 or 5 down on the back 9 out there, which isn't so bad. So knowing that, I can get to a more comfortable space, and then, also knowing it's just disc golf. I mean, we're just playing disc golf. So I think, having the experience of playing with some pressure in the final 9 at Nationals here, and then also Iida Wild is going to be really valuable for me tomorrow.
You finished the event on Sunday. Where do you place in terms of whether you reached your goal or not? What's a successful event for Jesse this week?
I think a successful event is just having a good time out here. I mean, I'm a competitive person, so I want to be as far up that leaderboard as I can. But I think it's a healthy balance for me. Just being out here throwing these shots with all these guys, and it's such a special place. It's a special weekend for me, and so I'm going to try to embrace that.
And what's the support coming your way from home in Lancaster? Is your family going to be here on site, or are they going to be watching live?
Yeah, so a couple friends and my dad's coming down. They're going to be in the Airbnb with us this week.
All right.
My dad won't be able to make it tomorrow, but my whole family will be watching at home, and I got so many people sending me messages, just keeping me going.
All right, Jesse, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck on that lead card tomorrow.
Thanks, Nate.
All right, we're here now with Cole Redalen. Cole, hottest player on the planet right now. You gave us one of the best stories of the season. You took that mic away from Brian, and you got real emotional there on the green in Maple Hill talking about it. I just want you to reflect on it a bit more. I mean, at one point during the season, you couldn't really walk up the fairway properly. Uli was carrying your bag, and then all of a sudden you hit your stride. How were you able to make that happen?
Just a lot of faith. I think a lot of faith in God, but also just, in myself and just my ability to pull through difficult times. And just wanted to stick with it. I mean, I wasn't going to let anything pull me away from the sport that, I want to take as seriously as anybody. And just always having that learner's mindset, always open to what I need to change in my game to be as successful as I want to be. And so, some of that thing is looking at technique, looking at form. And I kind of knew from the start of my injury that I needed to make some severe form changes to help protect certain parts of my body. And I think I was finally able to make some of those changes fairly quickly after getting healthy right after Ledgestone. So I feel like ever since Ledgestone, I've been definitely on the up and up as far as feeling good and able to put in the time on the field that I want to lock in my game. And I just feel like maybe that's an encouragement and message to anybody who's just kind of in a lull right now. Just keep learning, keep looking at what people are doing that are better than you, keep taking away from those things, make sure you're locking in with the time that you can to get better and make those adjustments. It's working for me, so I don't see why it can't for you.
Well, Cole, if you don't mind, could you kind of enlighten us on some of the specifics of the form changes that you made after Ledgestone?
Yeah, a big thing was switching over to the power grip for my distance drivers. I was a fan grip through and through for everything, putters all the way up to even a 14 speed. That shocked a lot of people, but I just kind of figured that's kind of how I threw. It felt good for my body, felt good for my throw. But I've slowly realized over time, especially at Ledgestone playing Eureka this year with the bum hip, like everything was coming out early. All of my distance drivers, all of my fairway drivers, like the only thing I was throwing well that week were mids and putters. And I was just kind of confused on why that was. And so kind of going into Idlewild that whole week, I only played like one practice round or maybe two, but I was just putting in a lot of time in the field learning the power grip. And once I got really comfortable with that power grip, I was able to take some strain off of the lower body, so that automatically took away some of the pain that I was dealing with. I was able to trust the upper body and the snap of the disc a little bit better, which allowed me to kind of direct the disc more. So all in all, just everything kind of compiled into just feeling a little bit smoother, feeling like I was putting a little less effort into my throws, and kind of trusting the angle of the disc out of my hand more.
Well, Cole, after the win at Maple Hill, we saw that you just played a small A-tier event here in Charlotte at Hornets Nest. You took second to Marty Villman. Can you kind of touch on the thought process behind getting another event in versus taking that weekend off?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit is trying to make up for some lost time. I feel like I just haven't been able to put my best foot forward all year. So I definitely, now that I feel like I can, I want to play as many events as I can. I think it's always good to stay in that competitive mindset too. I think you can always shift yourself from being like, I have to win, to just kind of, trying to obviously control your emotions and just kind of be in the moment. So for me, I was just really wanting to play another tournament, and I signed up for the Clash like before even Maple Hill even happened. So I was already planning on playing it, and I don't know. I like playing tournaments. I like playing competitive disc golf, whether I come out on top or not. I think sometimes we put pressure on ourselves, like we have to win, and so that's why sometimes we don't play certain events. But for me, it's like I just see it as another opportunity to learn, grow. Hornets Nest is a very difficult track in the woods. I felt like I was really uncomfortable on a lot of those holes, so that contributed to maybe the second place. Yeah, just kind of not feeling really comfortable out there, but. I think it's always good to stay in that competitive headspace, and I've played Winthrop here for 5 years. I've still never played super well out here, but I just want to keep dialing in my game.
Well, when you look back on your 5 years here at Winthrop, what do you think it is that's prevented you from having success here?
It might be honestly having that fan grip. Looking
Wow.
forward to this year, I feel much more consistent about where my release is, and especially your angles. I think it's really important out here to hit your angles. So if you miss your angle, you're going to miss where you're trying to throw the disc so much more than if you were to just miss your line. So that's just some insight I'm bringing into this year. Is just if I can hit my angles, I think it's okay to just pull it a little bit or leave it a little bit inside. But if that disc is in general traveling in the way that you need it to, you should be okay. So I felt like the errors I've made in the past years have been a lot more prone to happen just with that fan grip. So now that I'm locking in, how the disc is coming out of my hand, that's going to really help.
Well, Cole, a couple of changes this season on the course that I want to zoom in on you with. Hole 3, what are you doing right there off the tee? What's a good drive look like for you on that hole, and what are you throwing?
About to go figure that out right after
right.
this. I could see myself doing 2 plays. It might be dependent on the wind. I think if it's really windy, I might take a overstable fairway driver and just swing a hyzer out there short. Maybe play the more aggressive upshot into the green. If there's no wind, I could see myself throwing a nuke, just trying to get past all of the out of bounds and kind of managing with what I have left. But I think it's a pretty creative fairway with where they've lined that out of bounds, and I think it'll be a fun challenge. But it's looking like a bonus birdie this season, or this year. So honestly, a par would be suitable.
So if you lay up short with that fairway, is that conceding the par, or are there still some up and downs for the left and the right pin?
I think I'd probably still stay aggressive if I'm in the right kind of spot. I'd probably be looking like a roller for the right pin, or maybe a flex shot for the left pin. But those 2 Mandos really pinch off those angles to the basket. So honestly, just to give yourself a circle 2 putt or even a look would be really cool. I personally believe some of those Mandos are pretty unnecessary, just because they cut off. It's not a natural angle that the disc can fly, and you could throw the best drive ever way up there and be left with this 90-degree skip shot hugging tight to a Mando tree, which I'm not a huge fan of personally. So if that's what that hole is going to require, then again, the par is looking good.
Next change, hole 9, probably one of the more significant changes this year. What are you throwing in that spot?
I think I'm going to go with a Tsunami, just really overstable fairway driver, throw it hard and flat. I don't think I can go too long with that disc. Going with the distance driver, you're putting some skip into play, which I don't really love for that kind of tight OB green. But the 10 speed, getting it low and flat, you need a flat release off of that tee shot. I think unless you're playing a hyzer flip, if you throw your overstable disc on hyzer, it's either going to be short or it's going to skip way left. So that left pin, making sure it's flat out the hand with an overstable disc, or even that right pin, I've considered kind of the forehand hyzer, or even playing the same backhand just a little further out to the right. So we're going to dial that in today as well.
Cool. Thanks for your time. Here's Brian Earhart with a few more.
Hello, Cole.
Hey.
I got actually just one question, and I noticed this really specifically at Maple Hill. You, more than a large percentage of MPO players, can control nose angle from extremely nose-up floaty putter shot to really nose-down distance driver. Is that a skill that you consciously owned in over the years, or is that something that over the years has just felt natural to you?
Yeah, I think I've definitely developed the nose down throw over the last few months or so. I think that's really helping me with the drivers. But for the most part, I even know in the past, even when I took down Ledgestone a couple years ago, I was primarily a nose up thrower. Like throwing with that fan grip, it's really hard to get that nose down, because when you want to snap the nose down, the disc kind of slips out of your hand when you're trying to drive that disc forward. So I felt like with what I was doing with the fan grip was just always leaving that nose up, which was taking maybe some distance off of the disc, but also making it not fly how I'd want it to fly. Or maybe it'd be hard to learn some of your discs because you're not hitting the angles you want to. So I think over time I've just, learning your nose angles is way more important than people think. Like the hyzer and anhyzer release, yes, those are important, but getting that nose down and up, I think is really, really crucial. So I'm thankful that, I can control those both really well now, for sure.
Well, hey, Cole, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you after this week. Good luck.
Thank you, Ryan.
We'll be right back. Missy Ganon joins us again. We're here at Winthrop. Missy, you just came off an incredible victory. I stood with you on the green of 18. Emotional release from you. The confetti flew. You jumped in the pond. Reflect on that week.
I mean, yeah, it's incredible. I would have been happy to just win it once in my career, but to have won it twice and it be back-to-back is, just incredible. And I'll say it once, and I can say it again. Like that, winning on that green at Maple Hill is so special because you're surrounded 360 degrees of people just cheering for you, and it feels so intimate. It's so, everyone feels like they're right on top of you, and I think it's so special and such a special place, and has so much history, and I'm just really fortunate to be in the position that I'm in.
Well, earlier, Jonathan Poole said that when he went to Finland for the World Championships, he saw the most PGA Tour style looking tournament that he'd ever seen. Mm-hmm. You just came off of a win at Maple Hill, which feels very grassroots. Do you think that both of these styles of tournament, kind of the grassroots Frisbee culture and the PGA style, do they have a place on the tour moving forward in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would hate to see something like a Maple Hill go away. Just because of its history. It's it was the first disc golf pro tour event that ever existed, and it's just it does feel like we could outgrow it, but I also think that's what makes it so special is that now that it's like a qualifying event and it's late in the season and it's just a course that so many people love, and I also want to shout out the spectators there too. You can tell that they've probably all have played that course or some variation of that course. And so they're cheering for shots that maybe other people on other courses wouldn't know to cheer for. They really understand how to execute the shots out there because they've thrown them themselves. And you have the gasping of a bad break or a tough shot, or you have the people that are cheering for those really technical shots that may look easy, but they're not, and they know that. And so that's what I really love about that atmosphere, just being out at Maple Hill, and you could tell that people are just so invested in that property.
Well, coming to this place now, Throw Pink's been happening, I believe 2021, and you won that one. Do you feel like there's some prestige starting to build, even though we started this tournament in 2021?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when we first came here in 2020, it was just so exciting for the FPO field to be able to finally, as an entire field, come and play on this property. And just because I was watching USDGC for so long as well, as much as I could, and just being so envious of the couple of FPO players that got to play the USDGC back in the day, and really kind of tuning into like what they were doing on this course. And so to be able to have the FPO field here on such a historic property is just so cool. And I think that it's definitely getting ground, and I think it has a lot of people wanting it to be a major. And I totally agree with that sentiment too.
Well, what do we have to do? Do we have to knock someone's door down? Are you in talks with anybody? I know you've done some players' council stuff for the Pro Tour. What needs to happen to make this a major?
Man, I don't know. If I could just flip a switch and it happens, I would. But I think it's just, I don't know. I really don't know because I already feel like it feels like that. I think that at least my sponsors have felt in the past, like when I won in 2021, they treated it as a major. So I don't know. I hope we'll get there. I really don't know the answer, but I think that it should definitely be strongly considered and put into action quickly.
You were mentioning earlier about shots that seem easy, but maybe watching on camera, but they're not easy. I feel like this course is full of that. Can you kind of elaborate?
Yeah, because it's all about execution out here, and the OB is super tight. You cannot just kind of throw wherever you want. You have to be accurate, and having some distance can help, but it's not really the key factor out here on what looks like wide open course. You really have to be controlled, and you have to really think hard and methodically about your shots, and that's what I love about the challenge out here, because you never really feel comfortable. There might be one or two holes that you're like, okay, I can breathe on this one, but I gotta lock it in coming up, or maybe one shot feels easier, and then the second shot's like, okay, this pressure's on this second shot here. So that's what I love. I love being able to play golf and really having to think about your shots, and you can't just throw it wherever you want.
One last question for me, Missy. You have been dealing with some form of an injury a little bit this year. How are you feeling right now?
I'm good. It's mostly just like soreness. I think I just have to be mindful of my recovery and make sure that I'm doing all that I can to recover, take my time, not overthrow. I really think about my throw count out here. I don't have to see the disc fly perfectly the second practice round. I know that's the shot, and I just have to execute it come game time. So just try not to put too much pressure on myself to have to throw every shot perfectly in practice, to know that I've thrown this shot a million times. I'll get it done when it comes time, and if I don't, that's okay too. Just know coming in here with a strong game plan is the biggest thing.
Missy, thank you so much for your time. Here's Nate Perkins.
Thank you.
Hey, Missy.
Hey.
After your win at Maple Hill, based on the StatMando rankings, you replaced Kristen as the #1 ranked FPO player in the world.
Okay.
This ends a 159-week streak that she held, and this also makes you only the 4th player outside Katrina Allen, Paige Pierce, and Kristen to take that #1 spot. What do you make of that?
It's crazy. Those 3 are people that I've looked up to and I've competed against for years, and to finally be in that spot is news to me, but also I feel like I've been working so hard, and people have overlooked me time and time again, and now you can't. So that's all I'll say about that.
Well, along those same lines, who's the FPO player of the year right now, and why?
I feel like I'm supposed to say me, but
it's close.
It's
all close right
it's
now.
Close.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's so close, and I think it just depends how you weight certain events. Having I think being able to pull in a major is a big deal. I think that playoff events are a big deal. So I would give myself a slight edge just because of the fact that I've won, a major, an Elite Series, a Pro Tour Plus event, and now, playoff event. So, we've got time. We've got a couple more events coming up. But, I think if I can secure one of these last 2, it shouldn't be a question. But, we'll see how it shakes out.
Well, Missy, you talked about the work that you've put in. I wanted to ask you about the couple of additions that you've made to your bag. I know you're throwing some slower speed discs. Can you kind of touch on that and how that has evolved your game a bit in the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think that I was always pretty known for throwing high speed pretty much no matter what, but I finally found a really nice 7-speed disc that just gets me that perfect distance where I'm maybe a little bit out of my comfort zone for a mid-range, but now I can just rip on a cicada and it'll go dead straight and pretty much be a farther flying mid-range for me. So that's opened a lot of doors. It's kept me, it's enhanced my control game, which I think was already one of my better parts of my game. So yeah, I think that it's really come through in the last events that I've won because I was throwing that 7-speed disc a lot. So I certainly still throw my thrashers a ton, and my captain's thrashers are a huge staple in my bag now too, but having that sort of slower speed fairway has really opened a lot of doors for me.
What spots on the Winthrop Arena are we going to see the cicada this week?
You'll see it on, I'm piping it down hole 4. That's another one where I know I can reach it with a mid-range, but I just feel way more comfortable with the 7-speed. And then a few, I think I'll be throwing it on hole 16. And there's probably a couple more that I can't think of, but it'll come out a bit. There is still more distance drivers out here than slower speed stuff, but those couple of holes for sure.
Well, there was a moment here a few years back where you kind of called me out specifically, harping on your forehand a bit. You threw it on 17, and that hole has, given a lot of people trouble over the years. Where are you at right now on that hole? What are you throwing? What's comfortable?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go test a couple things now. I'm throwing forehand, but I'm right now leaning on like an overstable captain's thrasher, just trying to bail out right. What I'm going to go try is just trying at standstill, because I just have a lot more control with my standstill forehand, and it's not really that far. I just hadn't tried it in practice. I feel like there's always a lot of like stuff going on over on 17 when I'm coming through, even at 9:30 in the morning when I'm finishing my round. But so I'm gonna see if I can sneak on there real quick and just see if I can get there on a standstill. But it's a forehand for sure, and yeah, we'll just see how it all works out.
All right, Missy, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the week
Yeah,
here
I
at
will.
Winthrop.
Thank you.
All right, we are here now with the young Iida Lehtomaki out of Finland. Iida, it's not your first time in the United States, your second time. You played this event last year. What does it mean for you to be returning here?
Oh, it's super nice to be here, at least because last year this event didn't go as planned. I did play one good round, but two were not that good. So I'm hoping I'll be able to come back better.
All right, so early October, has the snow begun to fall back in Finland? What was it like when you left?
Well, it was cold, but not snowy yet.
Okay, so a big difference, though, coming here to the southeastern United States. What do you make of the conditions here this week?
Oh, I love to be here because it's so cold in Finland, and I hate it. I hate it at least because it's not snowy yet. But when it's just cold, it's so boring, and I can't really play disc golf because it's super cold out there, and it's super nice to be here and it's warm.
Well, Iida, you gave us one of the best storylines of the year with your performance at the World Championships, and it's been some time since those final moments at the Beast. Can you kind of reflect on that week and those final moments for us?
Well, the week was awesome. It took me a lot of time to process the things and what happened there, and of course I was sad at first, but when I processed it, I had time, and I was like, I had the thought in my mind that I know I played really good, but it still kind of hurt. But when I had time, I felt like that was like easily the best tournament I've ever played, and I was super proud of myself.
Well, in terms of how that tournament affected your kind of trajectory of your career, did it have an impact? Do you feel like it validated the work that you've put in and the potential future you have in the sport?
Well, of course it did. It hasn't really changed like a lot, but it feels weird that people like in my normal life that I don't even know that come up to me and be like, "Are you the girl that played disc golf?" I was like, "Why do you know me?" And of course, I feel like I put so much work on disc golf, and I was so proud of myself that this was the season I was able to show it to people.
Well, we haven't seen you since the World Championships. Can you kind of talk on your plans moving forward?
Well, I'm hoping that next year I'll be able to play a few more events in the States, especially because in Europe we don't have that many events next year. But I don't know yet. I'll have to work on my school first and then have a look.
Well, how's the practice been going for you this week?
It's been really good, and I feel like this course really suits me, even though last year it didn't go that well.
Well, can you kind of talk about some of the discs that you are feeling comfortable with keeping them in the ropes?
Well, fairway drivers, I'm really using my Halo Star TL3 and the Star Invader that I lost yesterday. No, on Monday, I think, to hole 17, but I got it back.
Good. Well, Iida, you set the bar pretty high. It's great to see you out here competing again, and we're looking forward to watching your game again this week. And here's Brian Earhart with a few more.
Hi, Iida.
Hey.
You said last year didn't go so well for you. I want you to go back and take us through what it was like coming here for the first time to play disc golf.
Well, I gotta be honest, I was super nervous that time. I had not played that many big tournaments at that time, so I was super nervous. And first round I got to play with some pros, and that felt super nice, even though it didn't go as planned. But I played, last round was like, I think it was over 1,000 rated, and that was the best round I had ever played at that time. So it was an experience.
Well, you've evolved as a player a lot over the past 3 years or so. I mean, you've only been playing, it says 2022 is when you joined the PDGA. How different of a player, like your skill set, are you than last year?
Well, I feel like, of course, my throwing is better than it was, but it hasn't improved that much, because I was super good at throwing at that time. I don't know what got into my mind. I feel like I was expecting way too much of myself, even though I had not competed that much at that time. But I feel like my mind game is way better now, so that is what makes me better.
And when it comes to the mental game of disc golf, are you the type of person that goes out of your way to read books about mental game in sports, or is it just time that's made you a better athlete like that?
Well, I have practiced it for some time, but I feel like it's been time and experience and all that.
Well, Iida, thank you so much for your time. Let's hope the second year of this tournament goes a little bit better than last year.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Ricky Wysocki joins me now. Ricky, on the presser schedule, you're listed as South Carolina native, but can you kind of give your background and where you grew up and when you moved to South Carolina?
Yeah, so I'm actually from Ohio, and then when I was 15, 16 years old, we moved to South Carolina and lived there for a little while before I went fully on tour and everything like that. So, so I'm from here, 15, 16 until 20 something, and then I moved out to Arizona for the off seasons. So that's kind of the time frame here. My parents lived just 15 minutes away from here, so I lived with them for a while, and so this is always a tournament I enjoyed coming to, kind of a home court advantage type of thing with the family, being able to come out here and support me. So that's always cool. And so yeah, that's the kind of the story behind me being from South Carolina.
How did South Carolina disc golf during that window shape you as a player?
Yeah, so I obviously playing in Charlotte, playing Hornets Nest, that was a course that was one of the better courses. Renaissance, all those courses are all staples in the Charlotte community. So those are great courses to learn and practice on because they got so many tough, challenging shots out there. And of course, coming out here, even when the ropes aren't up, it's still a fun place to play. And you just, as a kid growing up, you want to envision yourself playing the USDGC. And so that's always a fun moment to come out here and play and practice and put yourself in that spot.
Well, Ricky, it's wild for you to say, I was 15, 16, and then I started spending my off seasons in Scottsdale. You've been out here a long time, my friend. Just reflect on all the years coming to Winthrop and how your view of this course has changed over the years, the way you attack it has changed. Just kind of reflect on all of that.
Yeah, I think that it's a type of course where you definitely, experience plays a big factor, a lot more than you would think on, obviously not all the holes, but you kind of learn the holes and the tendencies on where to just kind of concede and say, all right, this is a hole that, it's not that you can't birdie it. I can birdie every hole out here. Everybody can, right? That's not the challenging part. The challenging part is once you have that skill, when to play the aggressive style of golf and know when to attack. Wind's going to play a big factor. A lot of people sometimes maybe don't factor in the wind. They just attack. They have one game plan. They don't adjust with the wind. Mm-hmm. So just knowing how this course is going to play before you go out there, not after, right? You can always say, I could have done this or could have done that. Well, it's all right, if there's 15, 20-mile-an-hour winds, you ain't shooting at 10 under. It's not happening, right? So toning your game plan down to say, all right, there's a handful of holes that can be tournament ruiners and play those for par and mitigate that risk, and then attack the holes you have a way higher percentage of chance of birdie. And then when you don't birdie it, you're getting a par, maybe a bogey at worst, not a 8 or a 10 when your tournament's over, which there are holes out here that can do that.
There's some changes this year. Hole 3's seen some changes. Hole 9 has seen some changes. It's a little interesting to walk over there to the new Hole 3 that they've put in over the past few years. Some of the old holes that you used to play for years are gone. What do you feel about that section of the course?
Yeah, I think 3's changed a lot over the years. I think those trees being gone on the right side pin, on 3 is definitely a different view. And it changes the second shot coming in because you can go long, 30, 40 feet in those trees, and you still have a putt, whereas normally you're completely blocked out. And then the left pin is super tough to access. I think the left pin's actually harder than the right pin. It's going to score harder just because it's hard to park. You'll probably not see too many people throwing it inside the circle. People will, but it's not going to be as high a percentage as that right pin. So, yeah, just with that Mando and all the new rules, it's definitely playing a lot tougher. You got the OB on the first shot on the drive, and then you also have that Mando on the second shot with the tough angle around the corner. A lot of people are going to be playing from putting for 30, 40, 50 feet for birdie and not inside the circle like a lot of holes that out here that you can be aggressive and get inside the circle.
Hole 9 has seen some pretty significant changes. It seems to change every few years now at this point. What are you going to do on that hole? How are you going to attack it?
Yeah, I played it today and we had a 5-10 mile an hour headwind, so it's I'm glad I played it because you're going uphill into a headwind, so your discs are just flying way slower. I was throwing the exact same shots, but when it's a calm day, they're getting onto that stripped green, and I was landing about 20 feet short, so I was out of bounds. But it was good to see that and see how much the wind was affecting that shot. You got to juice it and throw it about 20% more to get past that OB line because you're not skipping out of that long grass. So it's really just kind of like a Velcro area, and you're going to the drop zone, automatic bogey. Your damage is already done. So, you got to keep in mind the wind and how it plays a factor, especially on an uphill hole like hole 9. You got that right pin. I think it's once again the right pin's harder. The left pin's a little easier because you can kind of play that skipping, glidey hyzer to it. Whereas that right pin, it's just the bushes are right behind it, and the short is OB. So it's just really, really specific distance control shot.
Well, Ricky, you told me you haven't gotten one of these yet, and it's time to get one of these. What needs to happen? What needs to clean up from previous years to be the champion here this week?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's out of bounds everywhere, and I think that last year I had from the top players I threw out OB a lot, and that's something you can't do out here. I mean, it's going to happen, but you got to mitigate it and strategically place your shots to where if you're going OB, you're still saving par hopefully and not getting a bogey, double bogey, but. Yeah, I bet at the end of the week, the person with single-digit out of bounds is going to win, and that's once again, if you go be 7 or 8 times, that's going to be a winning formula. Surprisingly, you'd be surprised at the end of the week. That's a very few out of bounds for this tournament. If you look at the stats by the end of the week, so I'm excited to try to shoot for that.
Rick, thank you so much for your time. Here's Nate Perkins.
Thank you.
Rick, it seems health-wise you can't really catch a break for a full season. Can you kind of touch on how you're managing your situation right now? Yeah,
so right now it's kind of like an ankle thing that I'm going through. But I've never been a kind of poor me type of person. I'm always just what I got to work with is what I got to work with, and I'm going to make it work. So, but yeah, it's definitely been a tough season for injuries for me, and but it's no excuse. I feel like even when I'm injured, I can still play, and I know what I need to do, and I try to do what I can with ice baths and eating healthy, try to keep the inflammation down, all those things that help my body kind of heal quicker. And so I'm really good about that, which is very important as a professional athlete. We're putting a lot of torque on our bodies, and it's there's things that are going to happen, and you just got to be able to fight through it. And once again, it's all about mindset. It's not about poor me, I'm always injured, right? No, it's just I'm out here, I'm able to play. I didn't completely break my ankle, glass half full kind of thing. So, like I said, I don't even, the injury's really not affecting me too much during the practice round. So that's not really something that's on my mind. I'm just happy to be out here competing.
Well, Rick, you're certainly one of the grittiest players in our sport. You were limping to pick out your Circle 2 putts at Maple Hill, I think round 2 when you shot hot. Where do you find that fire? How do you maintain that positive mindset?
To be honest, I talk a lot about it, and it might be cliche, but I think the ice baths really train your mind because it's doing something you don't want to do, and it kind of like puts yourself kind of in an uncomfortable spot, and it trains you mentally like for this, the ups and downs of a disc golf round. There's going to be times where you have to dig deep and you're out of bounds. Your swing may be feeling off, or momentum's against you, or just you feel like getting bad breaks, and that's when you got to be mentally strong. And I think the ice baths kind of train that part of my mind to where it's like you're resilient. You have to be resilient to do an ice bath and fight through that response of your body wanting to get out, but you got to fight it. And so I think that really helps me a lot. I've definitely noticed that, and just stress. I think stress is a big factor. If you can mitigate stress in your life as much as you can, everybody's got it, but the less stress, on outside life, the less stress you're going to feel on the course, and that's something that I'm always striving to find ways to just relax and let myself and let my mind do what I do best out here playing disc golf.
Well, Rick, you've won almost every tournament that's out there. Haven't taken one down here at Winthrop. Is that at all on your mind? Is there some sort of relevant block there?
Yeah, I mean, of course, anytime you want to do something and you don't do it, it makes you want it that much more even. And so then it just kind of piles up. And yeah, it's definitely something that's, I think about it. It doesn't, I put a lot of pressure on myself to get all the accomplishments and win all the tournaments that I feel like I should win, and this is definitely one of them that hasn't happened. And I know what it takes to do it. I just I haven't executed the shots when I needed to, and so that's definitely frustrating to look back on all the opportunities that I had, getting second, third place, and 1 or 2 holes away. But yeah, it's a new week. I feel like, once again, the experience plays a big factor, and I think that giving myself those chances to win year over year, I mean, 5 or 6 times, I probably gave myself a chance to win with, let's say, 2 or 3 strokes. But yeah, I think it all is going to help for the future, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to.
And on that same line, how relevant is it to you to keep the streak going? I think you're going for 14 seasons in a row with at least 1 win out on the tour. Is that at all relevant to you?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I definitely, we come out here to win. I mean, I feel like I'm the type of player where I want to practice all week and with the mindset and the game plan to come out here and win. And so when I don't do it, it's definitely it's definitely letting myself down, and I think that that's something that's, once again, it takes a toll on you mentally to where you got to really fight it and say, like, I know I got it, I know I can still do it. And like you said, keeping a streak alive that long it's a lot of pressure, but at the same time, I don't think a streak like that is going to put more pressure than I put on myself each week anyway. So,
Yep.
But it's definitely something I think about, and I definitely, I'm excited for the opportunity to have 2 more chances to keep it going. And so I still have a chance, and I'm excited for that. And that's really where I'm at.
Well, Rick, there's been some talk about your new disc, the Halix. Is that how you pronounce it? Are there some spots out here where we're going to see that?
Yeah, for sure. So it's like a kind of like a 10-speed fairway driver, got a kind of neutral stability, and I think that's a good disc for out here because I'm not necessarily throwing distance drivers because you're risking fading and turning over a little bit more squirrely. So that 10-speed gives you that little bit more control, but yet still have that distance to go 450 into the fairway and bite off a lot of distance on some of the par 4s. I'm going to throw it on hole 15. It's a perfect disc to go through that Mando and then fade late on that left side and skip around the corner, try to get yourself a good position for the birdie. So, yeah, there's 3 or 4 holes that I'm definitely throwing it on. I've been throwing it in the field to get it worked into the bag, and I'm excited to use it as a tool this week.
Cool. Rick, thanks so much for your time. Good luck chasing down your first U.S. title.
Thanks, guys.
All right, welcome back in. We're here now with Therese Cuevas, 2025 FA1 World Champion. Therese, can you kind of introduce yourself to the world and how you got into competitive disc golf?
Right, so like you said, my name is Therese Cuevas. I'm 16 years old. I've been playing disc golf for almost 5 years now. I started playing disc golf during COVID. Kind of like my dad wanted to take us out because we had really nothing to do. And then when like things started opening up again, we started getting into tournaments. And then I started getting really into it. Like I would practice putting a whole lot, and and then it just became a thing. Like that was like, oh, you qualify for this junior world thing, and then we went out and did that, and then it just turned into this whole thing. So, yeah.
Well, when did you set your sights on the Amateur World Championship, and what kind of goals did you have going into that event?
Yeah, this year I definitely wanted to win. Last year I played, and I kind of just played that one last year I played it and was kind of just like learning and like feeling it out a little bit. Because before that I'd also played Junior Worlds last year. But this one I really wanted to win. It's like what I've been focusing on this year. So it was pretty insane when I got it.
Yeah, what was that moment of victory like, and what kind of impact did it have on setting your next goals?
Yeah, so I got the win after a 3-hole playoff, and it was like
Wow.
so surreal. It did not hit immediately, and then it was kind of like, what's next? And I was playing CCR the next week. And I was like, well, why not cash? Like, what's holding me back? Like start getting experience now, and so.
Well, going into Throw Pink this week, what are your goals?
Really just experience right now. Enjoy it. Spend time, have some fun, spend time with family and friends. I'm just really grateful to be out here. I'm so thankful for all the people who helped me get out here, all the people in SoCal, all the clubs, all the local clubs. Thank you so much. And then, I think like a main goal would be like qualifying for Sunday.
Cool. So as far as your game is concerned, how do you feel like it's matching up with the shots that are required out here?
Yeah. I'd say it matches up like fairly well. It's not super wooded, which I think is my weakness. I think really just have to stay in the place in the fairway. It's mostly placement shots, which I think I can do. Make your putts really. So, yeah, I feel confident on this course. It's really just like I feel like it's so long. It's just gonna be mental for me and like keeping my head in it.
Well, you've handled some pressure before. You went to a 3-hole playoff, as you said, for the world title. How do you feel like you're going to be able to handle the pressure on a big card tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to think about it. Yeah, we'll just feel it out a little bit, not really think about it too much.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck. And here's Brian Earhart with a few more.
Thank you.
How you doing, Therese?
Good. How are you?
Just a few more for you. I'm always curious in this newer generation of players and how they learn disc golf and how they develop their skills. So for you, were you one of those players that was obsessed with form and technique in the beginning, or was it just more going out and playing practice rounds for you?
Yeah, I think my dad was pretty obsessed with the form, and like him knowing it all like kind of just wore off on me, and like he would tell me what to practice and what to work on. So yeah, he was really just my coach. I never really got obsessed with like the form thing. Mm-hmm. I think it just came like I just kind of like listened to what he told me. Yeah, not natural, but like like work. Yeah, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I think now I've gotten a little more into it because I'm trying to work on my forehand. So I've been watching form videos on forehand and stuff like that because I do not have a forehand right now. So we're working on that. Yeah.
How would you describe your play style to people that have never seen you throw? What do you like to throw? How do you like to throw? What disc do you gravitate towards?
Yeah, so I'm sponsored by Innova. So I throw, the basic Innova stuff: destroyers, T-birds, leopards, rocks, makos. I putt with whales. And yeah, my play style is in California. It's mostly golf, like open fields. Just throw the disc as far as you can. So. Yeah, that's kind of my play style. I'm a bit of a noodle arm, but I can keep the disc in the fairway.
What do you think your greatest strength is as a player? What are you most confident in?
Definitely my putting. Yeah, I spend a lot of time on my putting, and yeah, I just feel real confident in my putting.
Can you talk more about the SoCal disc golf community? It seems to be one of the strongest disc golf communities in the entire world.
Oh my gosh, they're awesome. All the people at Ukaipa, Martha, La Mirada, Prado, they're all awesome. They're such a supportive group of guys that they pushed me and helped me get to where I am today.
Well, we got the big show tomorrow, and you're going to be out there performing. What does the rest of this day look like for you?
Rest probably. Yeah, I don't think we really have anything planned right now. So
that sounds fantastic. Well, enjoy yourself on the other side of the country.
Thank
and
you.
Good luck this week.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcoming back in PDGA Director of Competition, Phil Diloné. Phil, hi. How you doing?
What's going on, Brian? How are you?
Fantastic. We're back here at Winthrop. You've been here as a player. You're now here with PDGA. Talk about your relationship with Winthrop over the years and how you feel about this place.
I actually have never played as a player.
Oh.
I played once many years ago, just without the ropes. But on the other sides, when I was with the DGPT and DGN, it was a different experience. But now actually getting behind the scene, planning and collaborating with Chad and JP, it's been kind of wild to see the beast that the back end of everything that they do. And then linking up this year, I think it's been probably one of the best cohesive relationships, and just from start to finish of planning. And then, yeah, excited to see this event pop off the rest of the week.
Can you elaborate more on the relationship between you and JP and Chad Sullivan and that whole crew out there?
Yep. So myself and my O&L team help plan our PDGA side of this event. They handle all, like they like to say, we're the tournament, they're the show. So JP is the event director, Chad's the co-event director, and we're seen as the PDGA as the governing body. The rules, the final say. So we work and partner with Duvy to actually work on the caddy book, work on any course changes and stuff like that, and then mostly just focusing on infrastructure and different tournament moves and stuff like that. Their fan experience, the new pavilion that they have right behind us is going to be pretty nice to see. Kind of eliminating the stage, getting people more. They're all about like the show and the festival, which I love, and the late night bands and all that stuff. So yeah, just the collaboration. Implemented some more communication tools that kind of helped us all connect a little bit, maybe better than in the past. So it's been a great first experience with them.
How many details are there to consider when putting on an event of this caliber?
Yeah, there's like over a 200 line item checklist. But yeah, as far as what we're worried about the competition, we're worried about the whole event, but their checklist goes even further. And something I've always been impressed with their entire team is their ability to get volunteers, which I think are so crucial in this sport. And they're 10-year, 20-year volunteers. This is the 27th USDGC, and I met a guy today. He said he's worked 25 of them. That's literally incredible to me, because I think elite events and everything else, we're burning out towns and not getting those people to come back. And they have something so special here that I think people just gravitate to. So
I want to zoom out a little bit and talk just raw competition. There's been some hot button topics about rules this year, tying up some loose ends and some gray areas. And I was just wondering, what is the PDGA doing to tie up these loose ends, and what are those discussions around things like time? I know that's changing next year, but what is your role in that as well?
Yeah, so we're helping guide in with the Rules Regulation Committee. One thing with time, at least, I know there's next year we're going to do the extensions, and now it's going to be 45 seconds. I guess I'm going to spread the secret now, but we're trying to, Statmando has developed like they ran statistics on every single major elite course that we've played and how long it takes to complete each hole. And they've ran it from round 1 to round 4. So round 1, it's a little slower, round 4, and then if a cut, it tends to speed up. But we can now know hole times. So if we go to hole 12 at Northwoods Black, I think it's 22 minutes. You've played it yourself. It's very long. There could be 3 to 4 people completing groups at a time. But one thing we're looking to do, and just kind of test it out, is put a clock at hole 10, put a clock at 18, you tee off at 12 o'clock. We know that when you get to hole 10, it should be 1 hour and 32 minutes based on years of statistics, everyone in the field, no matter if you're playing on the lead card or chase card. And I think Players Council and Player Committee, they've been asking to put pressure on the lead card. No one's behind them. Like, why are they allowed to play slower and stuff? So I think that actually looking at these analytics and knowing, okay, let's see the lead card, sure, crowds, camera movements, but how far off pace do they fall? And we actually have the numbers now to maybe look at it. So I want to put clocks around just so the players know as well, like, hey, you're on hole 10, it should be roughly, this course says 132, so plus or minus maybe 4 minutes on each end, but it's already averaging out all around. So I think that's going to be a good thing for time, just to see what we're doing. Should we keep doing it? That type of stuff. And then, yeah, as far as the other rules and stuff, I think I'd like to personally stop changing rules every single year. I think it's really confusing for the members, but I think we're getting there to where we're narrowing down the changes and kind of focus on the 4.0 competition manual. So,
Thanks for your time, Phil. Here's Nate Perkins for a few more.
thanks, Brian.
Well, Phil, this is one of the only major that stays in the same spot year after year. What do you see as the long-term vision here? Do you ever feel like disc golf is going to outgrow this venue?
I mean, as far as outgrowing the venue, I think this can support a ton of spectators. That's where our sport's going. Like out of the woods, golf courses. We're seeing the World Championships finish at open venues and stuff. There's always been talks and rumors. I mean, it's iconic. There's 27 years of the same course with some tweaks here and there. Infamous, finals and replaying the same holes. But I'm not sure if I think that's up to the host team, and we'd support them with, like, if JP is like, hey, we have this beautiful new venue, we're going to roll with it. If it meets all the standards, I think there's no reason why not to try it. Who knows? Maybe we could take a year off and play the World Championships one here. Charlotte's got amazing courses in the backyard, and this could be, the supporting course, and I think a complement to some woods golf, and then showcase the finals here at Winthrop would be unique. I don't know if it's ever been tabled, or there's no current bid for it. I know the 2028 bids were all turned in October 1st, so we're reviewing those now and through the end of the season. But yeah, I think the venue has cemented itself in time. It's allowed to grow with disc golf. It's like all the infrastructure and the power and the equipment, and Winthrop University, like them bring in the food and beverage, like they have something special because they're used to hosting big sporting events, and this is no different. They have the parking, they have everything that we need. Amazing paths all around for spectators and stuff like that. So I don't know. Do you think it could ever change yourself, or?
If I was nitpicking the property, I would think you could get rid of some of the aesthetics, the back of hole 8 and the cars driving by. Outside of that, I think it's a great disc golf course. I'll transition you into my next topic, the XM tier, the denoting of this as an X major. What does that even mean to you at the PDGA? Does it at all take away from the event? And why is it denoted as such?
Yeah, I mean, it's denoted as such because there's 3 holes. 10, you kind of get stuck at the drop zone and you're forced to throw, so you're too far away. Hole 12, same thing, off the tee, then you get forced to a drop zone. And hole 17, that the rules are just outside of our normal standards. So what we don't want is, C tiers and B tiers having this hole that you could potentially, I think somebody in the Monday qualifier took a 19 on hole 10. We want to reflect that, and the ratings, that's your entire round is gone. You just try to qualify on hole 10, you might as well just you par plus 4 essentially the rest of the way. But I think moving forward, the other part of your question too is, like, I think it still has the prestige. There is an X in front of it. We've talked about how can we remove it. There's a couple holes that need to be tweaked, and I think we can get there in the future. But I think you win the USDGC, it's outside of Worlds. It's one of the most coveted tournaments as a player that you want to win. And it's so iconic. Actually, I talked to Chad today. The only player that's not playing this that is a returning champion this year is Ken Climo.
Yeah.
And that's the first time it's ever been that many returning champs at least coming to play.
Wow.
Which I think is interesting, especially moving forward, like when these people continually get older and how much can they compete. But the field is really strong. But I think it holds the prestige. I mean, I've always looked at, like, anybody, they get the disc, everything else, the player that wins. I'm sure a contract bonus. It's looked at as a major still if you do win. It does have the X in front of it, though. I think there's ways to remove it. But yeah, just not granted this year. So.
And as far as the throw pink, what do they need to do to earn, that major status here?
Yeah, they're close. I mean, not even close. They're like, it's on an amazing stage with our FPO players that are playing every elite and majors in tandem with the men throughout the entire season. I just think that, this was at one point one division, one champion, and I think it now has outgrown itself. And there was some other, there was another field, I think, in the 2014-15, people would tee off in the morning, and they were, I don't know quite the format that well, but I think throw pink, I know the women would like it. It's looked at and feels like a major. We have the United States Women's Disc Golf Championship, which it was held in Manitowoc, Wisconsin this year, which is the women's, that's their championship for the U.S. champion. So I think we are definitely in conversations with the host team. We currently have bids for the 2027 U.S. Women's Championship and 28s from multiple people. And it sounds like the collective of women like to kind of rotate that major. But sure, what does it look like at the highest level? I think, but that keeps the amateurs wanting to play too, because then after the rounds, they go and watch the FPO at the USWDGC. But yeah, the one day I think do women get 5 majors? Do we eventually fizzle out the USWDGC and have that kind of run in tandem with this?
Yeah.
Do we split up that? It's really interesting. US Masters, you can go win Tim Selinsky's. Jennifer Allen is not looked at as the United States as the United States champion until she goes and does it again at the FP40 Manitowoc USWDGC. So it's really interesting that we have these for men. They're the men official United States championships and the older respected divisions, but then they're not looked at the same. So I definitely think it's a goal to look towards. I know the pros, the women definitely want it at the top. They want it to kind of feel like they did not win an A tier, like it's something above that. So, and I think that that's a goal in the future. And yeah, definitely a lot more conversations that need to be held. So,
well, Phil, to wrap this up, what are you most looking forward to this week?
I always just crowning 2 new champions. New would be cool. I mean, Ganon Buhr's won 2. He's highest player in the world right now. Just has had an amazing season. I just want to see it shape up. The weather's looking good. I just want the fans to have a good time, the players to get the best experience. I think this venue, the host team, they give them the best experience they can get. So yeah, just if it runs, there's going to be at any event. There's always going to be some hiccups behind the scenes. But if we can just run a smooth championship and crown 2 FPO and MPO champions, that's what we're looking forward to.
All right. Well, that's Phil Diloné, the Director of Competition for the PDGA. And thank you, Phil. That's a wrap on the USDGC press conference. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you bright and early, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time for the FPO coverage. Take care, folks.